After an entire summer of trade discussion, James Harden is officially a Los Angeles Clipper, and he made his debut last night in Madison Square Garden. So here's how it went down. I mean, I always end up walking up that tunnel, and MSG is always difficult.
Yeah, you start sweating.
James Harden, though, making his debut here in the world's most famous arena. Pulls up here, gets this one to go. He was 4 or 5 from the field in the first half. He scored 9 points, added 3 assists and 3 rebounds. The Clippers led 46-42 at the half. Rich, going ahead to the third quarter here, the game tied at 73. James Harden pulls up. Whew,
the Clippers are going to be a problem. Look, people can try and dissect them 1 game, 5 games, 3 games. At the end of the year, if they are healthy, they are going to be a problem because you have a mean distributor to high-level offensive players.
It was all Knicks, though, in the fourth quarter. I think
see RJ Barrett back.
The offensive struggles, people forget they have like the second best defense in the NBA. They were rolling here. Isaiah Hartenstein, check that. Dante DiVincenzo gives it up, gets it back, goes up for 3.
It's nice. Look, but at the end of the day, I've never paid money to watch great defense. I want to watch some guys put the ball in the bucket, and that's what they were doing late in this game.
Dante DiVincenzo heard you. He got that one to go as well. Knicks up double digits in this one. Jalen Brunson finds Julius Randle, who's been struggling a little bit early on in this season, but that three-pointer is good. The Knicks get the win, 111-97. Let's take a listen to James Harden after the game.
I feel kind of weird out there, but, just not really having a preseason game or an opportunity to participate in the full training camp or none of that. It was just out there just basically winging it. But I try to go off my basketball instincts and, what I've been doing for the last, few years or whatnot. The first couple of minutes I was tired. I was like, God damn, they're moving fast. But, I got adjusted to it. It's going to take me a few games to kind of get used to the pace. But other than that, it was still basketball at the end of the day.
Lowe also said that he wants to give this group about 10 games to see things working in that capacity. All right, Zach, you were actually in the building, though. What did you see in this one?
It was a little clunky, and we should have all expected it to be a little clunky. You're taking a giant piece who has the ball all the time and plopping him into a team 8, 9 games into the season, 6 games into the season, whatever we are, and you got guys who need the ball all around him. So it was a little bit clunky. Everybody's got to find their place. 22 turnovers. Some of them were just we're getting to know each other, throwing the ball all over the gym. They've all got to figure out how to play together. It's a really interesting puzzle piece, and it's going to take a while. Should Russ start? Should Russ come off the bench? How do you distribute minutes? How much does James and Kawhi play together? These are all questions, but last night it was a little clunky with everyone trying to kind of find their place. You saw glimpses of how they could all work together and make it into something bigger than the sum of their parts, but it's going to take a while to get the kind of synergy they'll need to really compete with Denver at the top of the West.
Absolutely. Denver has set the standard. I know it's a good show when Zach uses words like plop and clunky in it. Our senior NBA insider, Adrian Wojnarowski, is joining us in studio. And Woj, Zach touched on it, but I keep coming back to this idea that it's pretty rare to have just 6 games in, a new piece plopped in like James Harden. We're not talking about the trade deadline. We're talking about 6 games into the season. So how is that adjustment reverberating around this organization?
Well, and that's such a big part of why the Clippers wanted to get this trade done as soon as possible. To not have to do this 5 games into the season versus 55 at the trade deadline. They have time. Time is on their side to figure this out. And listen, that's why there are no illusions among the Clipper leadership, among their star players, and certainly within the coaching staff and Lowe, that this is going to take time for all the reasons Zach just detailed, but getting this trade done early in the season was paramount for this Clipper team, especially when James Harden has shown you he can be a ceiling raiser for a team's record in the regular season. Postseason, there's still more certainly to see from him, but you're also not asking him to carry the load in the playoffs with this team that maybe he had to with some others.
Absolutely. And in Harden's debut, take a look at this. The Clippers, they played their slowest game of the year, just 93 possessions while also turning the ball over, as Zach mentioned, 22 times. That's their most in a game this season. So, Chiney, I mean, is time going to solve this, or is there a larger issue at play here?
I'm going to dive into the nuance of time. And the time that we should be talking about is the time between the point guards, because Russell Westbrook and James Harden are two polar opposite style of point guards. Now, when Russ is on the floor and he has the ball, James will have to work on becoming a better catch and shooter. That's something that Philly asked him to do, and now he's going to have to bring that over. And I think that confidence will help him. Now, when James Harden has the ball, Russ, they're going to have to figure out how to make sure that the court is not shrunk. Since we're saying clunky, make sure that the court is not shrunk. And that is the challenge. So managing the time when both of them are on the floor, the time when they're on separately, and how to make sure their stars keep going, it is imperative.
Well, look, at the end of the day, there's kind of this formula. Can he be the best player? And we're not talking about James Harden. We're talking about any superstar. Can he be the best player on the team? Does he need to be the second best player on the team? Does he need to be the third best player on the team? And I think what we've seen over the past few years is James Harden had a moment where we felt like he could be the best player. Then he goes to Brooklyn, and it's like he's probably the third best player on that team. And then he goes to Philly, and he's the second best player on that team. The point that I'm trying to make is he is fitting in right where he needs to be. When he is playing in the postseason, they're going to need him to distribute to those two horses, Kawhi and Paul George, and then all of the other talent. So they don't need him to have a 30-point, a 25-point explosion. That would be nice, but ultimately, if he's distributing to those guys, that is where his value is probably the most. So I don't need a little bit of a postseason. What is he going to do? As long as he's distributing it and those dudes are carrying the weight, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah.
One more concern now for the Clippers. Mason Plumlee, their backup center. You saw him helped off the court last night. Team called it a left knee sprain last night. Now, he's undergoing imaging evaluation today, and there's certainly some concern around that for the Clippers. They don't have a clear picture of it yet, but this is a player who, playing 17 minutes a game. They don't have depth at that position on the roster. P.J. Tucker's played some small ball center in his career, certainly. And this is not a Clipper team with the assets to just easily go out and plug in a veteran in that spot. So that'll be one to watch here to see, how Mason Plumlee comes out of this imaging, this evaluation here through today and maybe even to tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely, because really Zubats and Mason Plumlee, those are the two true centers on this roster. They need Mason Plumlee for the push that they're trying to make. All right, let's check in on James Harden's former teammate here, Joel Embiid, who currently leads the league in scoring once again. Joel Embiid, Sixers hosting the Wizards here. Joel Embiid, he was dominant in the third here. Take a look at this. The two-man game, the pick and roll with Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to show you every one of these buckets that he hit because he didn't miss a shot. No, look, Joel Embiid, we know that this man is dominant, but sometimes you get a chance to play against a team like the Wizards, and you can really show people how dominant you are, and that's what he did. If you can't make a guy miss a shot out of 10 attempts, I don't know what defense it is, but at the end of the day, they don't have an answer. Not many people have an answer for Joel Embiid. And really, to me, it's about the rest of these guys. How do these rest of the guys fill in? That will determine.
Why do you need a rest when he's playing like that?
No, I said the rest of the guys will determine the ceiling. It ain't going to be Joel, in my opinion.
I feel you. I'm just saying, on this night, that was his night. Let him go.
Oh, yeah. It's almost like he's playing against the Rockets.
Now, once again, pulls up 7 of 7. The connection between him and Tyrese Maxey clearly on full display as well. Furkan Korkmaz getting in the action.
Still hasn't missed a shot yet. Look at that. Okay.
Is that some money losing?
Yeah. I love it.
Okay. No, we love it. We love it. We love it.
Yeah.
Maxey has.
Hey, what's up, guys? Jag from Jaggy Sports here. And yes, James Harden is now a Clipper. They played the Knicks last night. They lost to the Knicks last night. And a lot of people are thinking it's a controversy now. I don't believe it. Just because Ty Lue said at the end of the game, our best player is Kawhi Leonard. There are a lot of good players on the Clippers. Let's not get that mistaken here for a second. But just because he said Kawhi is the best player, people need to stop saying, there's drama already in LA and yada, yada, yada. All they got to do is figure it out. They got to figure out how to play with each other and, drop their egos here and there. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like you either got to push Russ to the bench, which could happen on the Lakers, or you push James Harden to the bench. That's never going to happen. Never, ever, ever, ever going to happen. Not a chance, right? So what happens now? What happens now is, that's why I got to agree with Woj. That's why they did this deal now, because it's better to do it 5 games into the season as opposed to 55 games into the season right before the trade deadline. Then you got to mesh with all the chemistry and whatnot. So now you got the whole season to deal with this. Are the Clippers done in making trades? I highly doubt it. Plumlee got injured last night. They still have a couple pieces. Bones Highland, he could get dealt. You never know. And they got a couple of young pieces as well. They got Terrence Mann. I don't know if they're going to give him up, but if they do, it's going to be for a big piece. So, what are your guys' impressions on the new look Clippers? I think that obviously they're going to be really good, a really good team, and they just got to give it some time. LeBron James said it, Rome was not built in one day, and this is not going to be built in one day. Ty Lue is the man for the job. He can control this team for sure, but to say that, they're head and shoulders above everybody else in the Western Conference is a bit of an overstatement, because think about it this way. You got Denver Nuggets, unbelievable, defending reigning champions. Then you have Minnesota, who beat Boston last night, the best defense in the NBA. I'm not saying that they're going to beat the Clippers, but I'm just saying that they got the best defense. Warriors are on a rampage because, they got some kinks to figure out here and there, but they are looking better than I thought they would because of Chris Paul and his aging health. He's got 23 assists, or even more than that actually. He's got a lot of assists, but 23, I think it was in the last 2 games, something like that, some crazy number like that, but he is adjusting to his role. Then you got the Sacramento Kings. Sacramento Kings is fast-paced offensive team, very good. Then obviously you got Phoenix. Now Phoenix are everybody's favorite to win the Western Conference in the summertime, but now it's like Bradley Beal is still injured. Then you got Devin Booker. I think, in the next week or so, he should be healthy. I was told that their game against the Lakers, that they should come back. So at the end of the day, you still have the Slim Reaper, Kevin Durant, to hold the fort. And I know he can, because he's the former MVP and pretty much one of the best in the world. So what's going to happen with the new look Clippers against the Western Conference? That's a tough question, but tell me what you guys' thoughts are. Was it a good deal for the Clippers to make that trade? Because we all know 76ers are playing elite basketball right now. They're looking damn good. A very good defensive team in the Eastern Conference. But how are the Clippers doing? Are the Clippers actually, doing what they're supposed to be doing? And, will it take time, right? Will the Clippers be a top 2 team in the Western Conference? You guys tell me. So leave a comment in the comment section. As always, this is Jag from Jaggy Sports.